Hello everyone and welcome to Antique and Garden Showcase for this Wednesday session. Glad to have you back. My name is Mark and today we're going to talk a little bit about fall planting. It's been hot, it's been dry, it's been crazy rainy, it's been just about everything this summer. And one of the things that I'm doing now is trying to plan ahead for fall to arrive. And I'm looking actually forward to the cooler weather this year. Everything right now in the yard is just pretty much on life support, waiting for any chance of a cool bit of weather it can find. But I am happy to report that the urns did bounce back from the drip system catastrophe. I'll put a picture of those up on the screen here now. They've bounced back really well. Now that's a good testament to proven winners plants. So anyway, I'm actually in Berea, Kentucky right now. I'm gonna go up to the booth, take a look around in the booth, see what I've got going on there. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what I'm going to be doing for fall planting this year. So some of the things that are available right now are going to be a lot of forest green glass. I had a big buy out of this just a couple of weeks ago. Got more on the shelf. It's more vintage, some older art glass, more vintage glasses, pictures and things. Really nice picture. Got the banner up the other day, which looks really good. This is a really neat set of pictures. Would be pretty in a kitchen or area like that. This side, all porcelains, different types of porcelains over here. More pictures on the wall right now. Plate rack, quilt racks. A lot of people like quilting up here, so I managed to get some quilt racks. Assorted glassware. These are some carnival books and things. This shelf is also in the booth. Flower pots, some pottery pieces, and back around to the other side I've got this really neat child's cherry table. Another quilt rack that's wall mounted. This was Kentucky made. I found this on a trip the other day. This neat little chair is also up for sale. It's antique child's chair rocker with needlepoint, around 1880s. I got it for $65. And I still have the vintage basket. And there's a picture of the whole thing. I also have this showcase near the front registers of the store. It has some Nippon porcelain there on the top shelf. There's some Nippon, some McCoy, some ruby champagne flutes, some vintage things. The flatware is really selling. I put in a new flatware set, Queen Bess, on that shelf. And this is close to the cash register area. So I'm doing a little pre-planning for fall, and I know it seems early yet to do that, but I always like to have things ready and organized, and that way when the time does come to go out here and have to dig caladiums and bring bulbs in because the nighttime temperatures have hit in the 40s, then I'm ready. And I don't have, I just can go in and pick up the things that I need and they're there on the shelf. So I'm organizing the shelf and trying to get the shelf I'm talking about is where I keep my plant lights and things. And I'm getting my drying racks and stuff ready for those and labeled. And I'm gonna turn the camera around and I'll show you how I have these put together. What I do is I take just a simple open, this is from like the local nursery where I pick up my plants, just a plant carrier, and I'll line this with some parchment paper, and whenever I do have bulbs to dig, I'll have this ready to put them in, and I have it labeled. Like this one is for my Monrovia Caladium Tiki Torch, which I have out back in the strawberry garden, in the kitchen garden. And this one is ready for that particular bulb. So I'll have one tray labeled for everything that I have out here that I want to save. So then when the time comes, I'll lay those out to dry. I'll lay another one crossways and then put the next bulb in it, and then they're just ready to stack up for the winter time. I let them dry and then I take them out, and then we'll go through the process again in the fall. There's kind of a two-step thing that I do to store my bulbs in the winter, but this is preparation right now. I'm going around and just making labels for the trays. That way they are ready when the time comes. Another thing that helps out with fall cleanup is to get a jump on plants that, these kind of have multiple steps and stages throughout the year. The daylilies have already bloomed, and as you can see, the stalks are starting to turn brown. So one thing you can do is just grab these stalks once they're dry. They'll pull right out. Now that one I'm tugging on, it's not ready to go, but some of these are probably already ready to be pulled out of here, and I'm not having much luck right now. But anyway, that's one pre-cleanup thing that I like to do. Also, underneath, you can go ahead and start pulling out a lot of this dead. Like, you can get a handful of dead out of here, and that helps also in the fall to clean up, because there's not so much dead material under there, and it kind of helps the plant too. It keeps aphids and things from attacking because of the dampness underneath. And I actually had that happen to some of the ones that were up in the upper portion last year. They got hit by aphids really hard, so I had to treat daylilies. It's the first time I've ever had to treat daylilies for aphids, was last season. But as you can see, we've just had a really heavy rain today, and things are pretty soaked out here. But the planters that I was so disappointed in earlier in the year, they're actually coming back now. Look at this. Nothing huge, but they are surviving. So I don't know. I was originally not going to keep these. Maybe I will. I don't know. They might be good for some miniature something, but they were certainly a disappointment in these. But the Vista Paradise petunias from the other side over here have made their way through the wall, and they're growing under the pots and whatever, so it's still made a fairly decent looking display. It's not quite what I'd hoped for, but there you go. The next thing on my list is treating a really big nuisance in a fescue lawn, and it's right here. You can see it. See this area that's different from everything else? That's zoysia grass. Zoysia grass grows on a rhizome under the ground, and once it takes hold, it can spread like wildfire. Now, in certain areas, this is wonderful because, you know, it does have a really nice green look to it right now. But in this climate, in a few months, that will be the only brown patch in a sea of green. So this has to be removed. And I noticed here by the formal garden, there was another spot somewhere up in here. Here it is. It's over here next to the petunias. Another spot of zoysia coming in here. And the only way that I've found to get rid of it is to kill everything and reseed. That's kind of a horrible thing to have to do, but I've had to do it many times, and that's how I've got the front yard looking pretty good as it is. But this has got to go. So I'm going to start going around the yard and marking, probably with like a marking paint, places that I need to do that complete kill out, because otherwise, you know, this stuff will take over and it will not just go away. Yeah, you can see it right there. The really bad news about zoysia grass, and you can see where we're at in proximity here. This is the driveway island. This is all fescue, fescue, fescue. Looks good. We get right down here, and this hillside turns into zoysia. Yeah, it spread really bad here. It was just in patches a couple of years ago. I didn't treat it, and now it's taking over. So I'm gonna have to actually go in here. It's all around this tree. It's all down. You can almost see a dividing line of where it's at down in here. I'm gonna have to kill all of this out and reseed, and it's gonna have to be done in sections, because I'm afraid that I'll have this hill washing off, because this is a steep grade here. I mean, this goes down over kind of into like a little valley where it runs off. There's a creek down behind the tree line down there, and there are just patches all over here. So I'm gonna have to really work to get these out and make this a better looking space, because I know last year it turned really brown and ugly. So that's I hope you all are enjoying Antique and Garden Showcase, and I'm going to be very upfront. This is what it's going to be like. We're going to be doing gardening, we're going to be doing antiquing. Sometimes it's going to be very heavy on the gardening side, especially in the spring. Sometimes it's going to be very heavy on the antiquing side, and I know lately it's kind of switched to the antique side, and I've noticed a few people who are probably not more into the antiques have dropped off from the channel. But I hope that you'll enjoy seeing both. I try to link gardening to my antiquing. That's why it's Antique and Garden Showcase in the booth. I'm actually trying to source some neat garden items as well as antiques. I'm looking for the vintage stuff, the really nice stuff to put in there. In fact, I had one really nice wrought iron bench and table over there. It sold in 2 days. So the booth is still doing phenomenally well, and it's keeping me hunting for things. So some of the things you're going to see me doing is out looking for things for the booth, but then you're also going to see me doing preparations around here for fall and for getting ready for the season change, because we are at the peak of things, and things are just, it's been a really kind of bad year for growing. Things are just hanging on the best that they possibly can throughout this heat, throughout humidity, throughout drought. I've watered and watered and watered. Sometimes I just, I'm not going to do a video of me out here watering every night, and that's practically what's been happening day after day after day, is just water, water, water to keep things alive. And I really want you to see the things that are kind of happening that are more important, I think, to the channel right now, which is the booth space and getting that going. And yeah, so in the upcoming weeks, we're going to see more sourcing for the booth, I'm sure. And then I've got some family members who are going to be having some medical things done within the next week. So there may be a little bit of a change in programming next week, just depending on how things go. My dad's actually having a knee replacement, so got to take care of that. And other than that, that's about it for today, and we'll have some more content on Saturday for you. So look forward to seeing you back at Antique and Garden Showcase. If you're not a subscriber, we'd love to have you. Thanks for watching, and have a great week. Bye.